This activity is called house numbers. And in house numbers, some things you need to know to be able to get it done is you got to know your odd and even numbers, which I'm sure you do. You have to be able to identify factors and multiples of numbers. So remember, factors are two numbers that you multiply together to equal a number, and multiples are numbers are like counting by that number, right? So if you think about like 8, factors of 8 would be two numbers you multiply together to get to 8. So a factor of 8 could be 1 and 8, could be 2 and 4, right? Multiples of 8 are counting by 8. So if you want to go in order of your multiples of 8, it'd be 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. So you would continue counting by 8s. Those are your multiples. So keep that in mind. You got to understand how digits work, right? 0 through 9 in any place, except for the first one. You'd never start a number with a digit of 0. And then we're going to just use some logical reasoning to solve these puzzles. And that's what these are. These are puzzles that there's going to be a house number on each one that you got to figure out. Some have 4 numbers. Others are going to have 5. But always read these clues at the top because they might be a little bit different. So like this one has 4 numbers in its house number. All the digits are different. That doesn't necessarily mean the case for every page, so make sure you read it. And then we got to use these clues to figure them out. So looking at the clues, clue 1, A and B are even numbers. Okay, so what are even numbers? 2, 4, 6, 8. That's good to know, but it can't really help us right now, right? We can't actually put anything in yet. C is a multiple of 3. Okay, so our multiples of 3, remember, are counting by 3, so that would have to be either 3, 6, be 3, 6, or 9. Okay, that narrows it down. Number 3, A plus C equals 15. So this number, which has to be even, plus this number, which is a multiple of 3, is going to equal 15. I think I know what that is already. Okay, figure that out. Can you? What would A and C have to be? If C is a multiple of 3, A is even, and the sum of them together is 15. Can you figure that one out? So to me, if C is a multiple of 3, so if C was 3, that wouldn't work, right? Because to add it to A to give you 15, A would have to be 12. Well, 12 isn't a digit. We can't put both a 1 and a 2 in one spot. So 3 is out. If C was 6, that means A would have to be 9, right, to equal 15. But that can't be it either because A and B have to be even numbers, and 9 is not an even number. So that really only leaves one option left, right? That means C would have to be 9. That's a multiple of 3. And A to equal 15 would have to be 6, which would work because following our first clue, A is an even number, 6 is an even number. So I feel pretty good about those two. Okay? Now, B and D are multiples of 4. So into a one-digit spot, that only leaves 2 options, right? 4 and 8. One of them's got to be 4, one of them's got to be 8. But we don't know which one's which yet. And lastly, 2 times B equals D. Oh, well, there you go. So if we have to double B to equal D, and we know that they got to be 4 and 8, that means B would have to be 4, and D, I always struggle with 8s with this thing. Ooh, oh, that's not bad. Would have to be 8, right? Now, I always want you to recheck the clues to make sure that it still looks good, okay? So even after you've got all 4 of those written in, solve it. So A and B are even, 6 and 4. Those are even numbers. C is a multiple of 3. 9 is definitely a multiple of 3. A plus C equals 15. A is 6. C is 9. Together that equals 15. B and D are multiples of 4. B is 4. D is 8. Those are both multiples. And 2 times B equals D. 2 times 4 equals 8. That looks good. So remember, always read the clues at the top because they might be a little bit different page to page. So pay attention to that and do your best.